Good morning, Bardstown and Nelson County, and welcome to Bradford and Brooks on this, snowy Wednesday morning, though actually the main roads are looking pretty good right now. Kudos to all the road crews, county and state, who they've worked hard to keep the roads clear. And everything from my driveway into town looked great, Margie. Though I think you're a lot like me, the most hazardous part of coming in today was our own driveways.
Oh yeah, I can't get out of my driveway. Didn't stop the deer, of course. You look out to that pristine snowfall, and I can see those little feet.
Yeah.
All across my yard.
Yeah, well, at least I picked you up this morning, and unlike one time last year, I didn't end up off in your backyard trying to make sure my four-wheel drive didn't get stuck back there. So
yeah,
no incidents this time.
Well, we're all grateful for that.
All right. Margie, I'll let you make our introduction. We have a very special guest with us today, and it'll be All right. I'll let you make our introduction, Margie.
Well, with us this morning, we have County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins, who's going to talk about the last year. But before that, I would like to talk to him a little bit about his first acts in January 1st.
Is this good?
2025.
Yeah.
Am I hot?
You're fine.
Yeah.
You're on.
So, to prepare for that, I'd like to read a letter that I wrote to the editor of the Kentucky Standard regarding that.
Mm-hmm.
On January 1st, the Kentucky Standard printed letters to the editor from Rick McKay and Tim Hutchins, both letters exercising their constitutional right to freedom of expression, and I congratulate them on their ability to do so. However, they both seem to wish to deny me and others the same constitutional rights. According to their reasoning, winning an election seems to mean that anyone who disagrees should just sit down and shut up. To Mr. McKay, whose delicate sensibilities are offended by my quoting an article written about the probable economic effect of mass deportation on the housing industry, it was not just my opinion, but that of people whose livelihoods would be affected. To Mr. Hutchins, whose equally delicate sensibilities I apparently offended, I will say, why do you think that you're allowed to voice your opinion, but others are not? In your elected position, you represent all of us, not just the people who agree with you. That's known as democracy. It's up to elected leaders to keep that in mind as they seek to administer laws equally to all. Thanks to the Kentucky Standard for recognizing First Amendment rights, which is of paramount importance, especially when someone in power thinks that power gives them the right to quash any resistance to that power. Didn't we just fight a revolution over that?
You want me to comment on that? Is that what you're asking me?
No,
It's just her.
I was reading my response
Okay.
to something you've already said.
But nobody's heard my letter on this station, so you should have read mine first. I don't have mine with me.
Well,
Most people on this radio station right now, a lot of them won't even know what that letter is responding to without reading mine first.
Well,
That's my opinion, but
they'll learn. They'll learn out. They'll learn, won't they?
Yeah.
Now, when a politician blasts someone in public, usually there's two reasons. There's one of two reasons. Mm-hmm. It's either personal or it's political.
Okay.
So we have no personal animosity. I've never had any toward you, and I've never had noticed that you had any toward me.
Never. That's correct.
Okay. So that only leaves political. So my question to you is, are you going to run for higher office where you need to burnish your credentials with the MAGA? Or are you maybe in line for some sort of an appointment? So I guess being a political junkie, as Jim and I both are, it's what political motive was there for insulting me in the public, in the paper?
So is that a question for me? You want me to respond?
Yeah, that was the question.
Okay, so let's go back to that. There's a letter written by me, and Rick McKay had written one, and I didn't know his was going to go in the same time. I think it went in the same day, if I remember right.
It did.
He sent it to you too?
Yeah, I published it on the 27th.
Well, I read Rick's, and his was more about the politics and the agendas and all that. Mine was focused on the Kentucky Standard, and basically saying that they have guest columnists, is what they call them. You and Miss Moore write them in there, I guess, every month, or it seems like she has them in there a lot more than even you do. And the views, your views, the Liberal Democratic Party views, and what really, and I didn't put this in the Kentucky paper letter, and I wanted to, and I didn't do it. I think when, let's go back to, what was the guy's running against McConnell? I can't remember his name now.
Oh, shoot.
You know what I'm talking about? And then, what was his name? Corey, was it, whoever it was, I can't remember who it ran against McConnell. Then you got Trump running, and the views that the opinion articles that you write, and especially Ms. Moore, more so than you, is basically a campaign article for the candidate that they support. And I think it should be disallowed by the Kentucky Standard. And everybody else has to pay for their ads, full-page ads, and all the ads, and they do let some people write in letters to the editor, comments, letters to the editor, a few, and then they'll eventually cut them out. But when they let a guest columnist write and attack and push their agenda for whoever it is on their side, I think that is 100% wrong. And they can say what they want to say. And I've had a ton of positive responses about this that said the same thing. They do not have any, and I say moderate or conservative columnists in there, very seldom, very seldom. That's my point on my letter. I didn't really get into the political side of it. I didn't get into the stuff that you said.
If your beef was with the Standard, why would you mention our names?
Because I didn't agree with your liberal views, and I said they would, when you and Miss, because you're the ones that write them all the time. You and her are the ones that they invite to write, and I quoted both of y'all saying that so everybody would know which ones I were talking about. And I didn't want to put it in there and make it vague. I want to be real clear. Now, I mean, you've always got along, I think. Again, just like I said in the paper, the Nelson County people, which is who that paper should be representing, and I'm representing, has spoken out in 2022, Republican wave completely against all the views that you shared in your paper and Ms. Moore. 24, I guess it's 23 or 4 when they had the next big wave this last few months. Overwhelming support for the Republican Party and their views and their agenda, not just the party. The majority of Democrats in this county still are more moderate, conservative Democrats. And my point has been, I said it during my campaign, there's thousands and thousands of good Democrats out there. I don't criticize any of them. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I think I should be entitled to my opinion. You criticize, I can't do the opinion, but I mean, you know, you said Trump's wanting to appoint me. I seen your article. If I wanted to get an appointment, I think I could probably get it. Do I want one? No. I've had many opportunities through different branches of government to run for higher office in the state. Never did it. I think I could have been successful at it, probably. Didn't want to do it. Still don't want to do it. I like what I'm doing today. And then I think Mr. Fogel wrote one in there, some different comments about him scared. I hate to tell him, I don't back down from much anything, and I'm not really scared of any of this stuff. I want to hit it head on. And when you said in your article, if you want to get down to the substance of it about, I think it's illegal immigrants, last time I looked, it's against the law. You keep supporting things you say that you want to support. And if you look at the law, it's against the law.
The article that I wrote
Mm-hmm.
was talking about mass deportation, and I was quoting people.
You was quoting people, and a lot of theirs were opinions. Go back and look at the ones you quoted, and look at their articles that you reiterated in some of your articles, same way with Miss Moore does, and they go back and get this guy's opinion, this guy's opinion. Let's go back and get the facts where they got those opinions from. I can put all kinds of data together and show you just the opposite of what you do. Anybody can do that. But I want facts. I want the truth. Most of the stuff that you have written in there that I've seen is comments or opinions from other people, and you take their data, they may say whatever program they're in and use their data. Well, I could pick one out right now. We made, 500 emergency runs today. It makes it really look good on paper. But how many of them out there were maybe that they didn't need to go? But it makes it really look good on paper, as an example. So there's all kinds of ways that you can skew that. Bottom line is, as far as I'm concerned, is Trump, in this case, is Trump won the election. And instead of criticizing him continuously to see what the hell's going to happen. If he's a failure, I'll be the first one to say he's a failure. I didn't criticize Joe Biden and all of them when he first got in. I think for sure it's a failure. Anybody can give George Soros, which is the Democratic Party's big hero, a gold medal of honor. I think is about as low as you can go. If you want to get into the real political side of it, I can't even stand that. The guy that's caused more havoc and demonstrations all over the country, and they've proved it, paying people to demonstrate and destroy properties and everything, give him a gold medal of honor. So anyway, I don't want to get into all that part of it. I can talk about that all day long, but I think the Kentucky Standard needs to have more people writing at least moderate views, and let's get some more facts in there, and we can have a debate.
So anything you don't agree with is not a fact?
No, I didn't say I didn't agree with it. It's not a fact. I want the data to show it. You didn't have no data in there. You had an opinion from a guy, I think, in New York, if I remember right. Well, who in the hell cares about what's going on in New York when we live in Nelson County?
No,
I represent Nelson County.
No, it was talking about data from builders.
I mean,
it was talking about data from builders who were going to who were talking about the fact that the prices would go up in housing, making it less affordable.
Right, and
that's what the gist of that article was.
You took it from somebody else, though.
I took it from an organization.
Yeah. So the article is going to say about housing, what you said, and I didn't really hit on that too much, but anybody that hadn't been asleep behind the wheel in the last 4 years, housing prices have almost doubled, went up 30 to 40% because of the guy that's in the office now that has even with all the illegal immigrants coming in, and it's already went up 30 to 40%. So how's that going to stop that part of it? It's inflation. Because they spend money like crazy, and they keep borrowing and printing money, and you get inflation out of control. So I would advise some of y'all to listen to some of the other side a little bit and try to come to the middle and say, what can we do to make it better? That's what I would say.
Well, then I wholly endorse that opinion.
Well, I do. I mean, I got an opinion just like you got an opinion. I wrote mine because I didn't like it, and I think I should be able to share my opinion too.
Sure.
And it's been overwhelming to me, overwhelming supportive of it. I don't want to really get down in the weeds, but I will get down in the weeds because the Democratic Party in this county, I was a Democrat, elected Democrat, has suffered and suffered and suffered because the party and the leadership has gotten so liberal, and the party has left so many people, and I hear it every day. Got the comments today. Because of their beliefs. They want, instead of getting into every little detail of it, that's why, why are they leaving? So why did the Nelson counties go Republican? Why does the state of Kentucky go to Republican? Why nationwide is more people leaving the Democratic Party and going either independent or Republican in mass droves? So there's a reason for that. You get away from just a few of these bigger cities where they got the. And if you want to get into Trump, well, hell, he won every swing state, I think, every single one of them. So there's a reason for that. Elections have consequences. And we just went through one.
Sure.
And I think you even mentioned, I know the other article did, they mentioned about Kamala Harris's some things. Well, hell, she's done. Why even repeat what she's talking about? Elections, they voted for Trump on his agenda. Kamala Harris is done, Joe Biden's done, so let's move forward. That's what I think. But the point of it all is, I can get into this all day long, the party, and we get into it, and most of the people in this county, that's who I represent, have more moderate conservative views. There's a few out there that's way far left, and that's fine. I still represent them. I help them, do everything I can do to make it right for the people. But I'm going to disagree with their views in most cases, and that's why I won by a huge margin, around 70%. And all the other elected officials in 2022, it was a wave, because people are fed up with the liberal Democratic Party's leadership and their agenda. And that's pretty much why. Kentucky Standard, I think, should have more views from other people. I got calls from them. There was an article, I think, from one of them that said they've reached out. Well, I've talked to a lot of people that they haven't reached out to. I can give them a lot of people to write articles in that guest columnist. But to use it like you and Miss Moore have, actually pushing an agenda for Charles Booker, that was his name, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And to go back and look at all those articles. Hell, there was campaign articles and letters. I had to pay for mine. They're getting all that support free. Anyway, let's move on. That's my opinion.
Well, let me give a little bit of background, Tim. You talked about the papers being liberal. Well, I worked there 30 years ago, and they were fighting that perception. And back then, they had some superb reporters who wrote, commentaries every. That was part of the job. You had to write a column every week. And that, by the way, that was one of the hardest jobs, because you had to think of something original or, each week. But the paper was fighting. It had this reputation even 30 years ago of being liberal. And I think every publisher since, every new editor since, has heard that from the public. And sometimes I think it was probably warranted, because a lot of their opinion pieces were left-leaning.
It wasn't nothing like it is today. It wasn't nothing like it. I hear people talk about it all the time. Nothing like it was today, but that's fine. I wasn't in there. I didn't keep up with it as much as you did, I'm sure.
Right, but and I will tell you, the one time, I won't name the publisher, but the publisher, they had a bunch of brand new, real fresh new journalists. And of course, right out of college, all journalists are going to be left. I mean, that's just kind of comes with
left, meaning what?
Being liberal.
Okay.
And
you say that out loud, liberal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And so the publisher told me privately that she asked them not to write columns for the opinion page, because their opinions were so far left, and it was really aggravating people, because there was no moderate voice. And anyway,
out of college, you said all of them come out of college, which means, I guess your statement is, when they come out of these colleges, they put that liberal mindset in all these kids' mind.
I've seen that in my own kids.
Well, me too. I'm glad you said it. That's happening.
Yeah.
And it's happening.
But anyway, I won't go into the details. But as kids get older and more worldly, and you have kids and other concerns, you moderate your views a little bit, usually, in most cases, maybe not all. But anyway, more about the paper. So that there's always been wanting more moderate voices for the paper. Just about every publisher I've talked to or editor, they've tried to recruit more moderates, more Republicans. And I think Robert Augustine was one of the first, because now they were using syndicated columnists. Like Rich Lowry and some of the others who were more moderate in Augustine. And then I didn't know that till the ride here.
Well, but, Robert was the
chair of the party.
Chairman of the party, which you can agree or disagree with some of the leaderships.
Yeah.
And I'll give Kenny Vogel credit. He does write articles in there every month.
Yeah.
Which he should. And I think our party hasn't done enough of it as a party.
Right.
But I'm talking about guest columnists. There's a difference in the party leadership. Elected officials, I put my updates in there. Jimmy Higdon does, and Candy, and some other ones. That's elected officials updating.
Right.
But opinion columns is a totally different animal, and they have very few.
Right.
Yeah, they could say, they haven't called me. I can send them a list this long about people I can give them to write letters if they want to, or guest columnists. That's fine.
Well, maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea. I think
they can reach out to me. I'm pretty busy.
Well, the reason that I got started in this was because of Robert Augustine.
because
You
he
was a
was
Democratic chairman.
I was
Party.
a Democratic
and she was
chairman.
Republican. I mean, Augustine was the Republican chairman, and so
She was chairman, Republican?
No,
Margie?
Democrat. Augustine was a Republican.
That's what I
chairman.
say. I didn't know you switched.
I'm not like you.
Yeah, they left me, that's for sure.
Anyway, but Augustine's appearance in the paper as a columnist is what got Margie interested, because she felt like it was.
You was a party chairman for how long?
20 years.
You didn't write any prior to him start writing? You didn't write any?
No, not a one.
So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that the papers knows that the perception in the community is, whether it's justified or not, that it's been for at least 30 years that it's left liberal leaning, and at various times they've tried to recruit some conservatives or moderates.
And
they've had some
I would agree
success.
with you on some of it, but I think if you want to, there's other papers across the country that's more conservative and moderate leaning, and there's a lot of them that's totally liberal, and so it depends on how much time you want to put it. I know they're shorthanded, and they've got a lot of papers to run, and people reading papers nowadays is less and less because they're doing more stuff online, which they still do. They read those articles online.
Right.
I talk to people all the time, and it's like the Nelson County Gazette. So with that, anything else on that topic?
No, I think we've covered that.
That's fine. I mean, if anybody wants to throw darts at me, I'm right here. And then just to let you know, to enhance that subject, starting February the 4th, I'm going to have my own radio show here. It's going to be the Tim Hutchins Judge-Executive Show, and I don't know, we'll name it something. February the 4th at 11 o'clock, and we're going to have one every Tuesday. And I'll be on here myself, and I'll take phone calls for, I don't know who I'll have in there with me, help me operate this thing. I don't know how to do all that.
Right.
And get Roth to do that, or somebody. But we'll be taking calls. I'll be taking calls. And then from time to time, I'll have some guest columnists come in, or guest columnists, I guess you'd say, or guest people coming in and ask questions. They can take questions. And if I can't be here for reasons that meetings or something that's important, and I'll have somebody fill in for me. But so starting February the 4th, I think that'll be entertaining. Get the public to know what's going on, and we'll update everybody. And I want questions. I want people to ask me. I want the complaints. I want to hear it.
Good.
'Cause I want to try to make it better. That's my goal, is make everything better. We've made a lot of strides in the last 2 years to make things, we try to get things up to the next level, and I think we have. I'm not trying to criticize anybody in the past, but like I said, I just met with Homeland Security. It's about the third time I've met with them this year about all these attacks and spyware and on and on and on. We've got all this stuff we're trying to fix that we have not been very good at. And the previous has not been very good about that. So we've got a lot of that stuff in place, and we're working tirelessly to get that better. And I'm going to meet with all of our departments and make sure that we don't get attacked and then get the ransoms and all that stuff.
Right.
Because it's very easy. You hear it and see it every day. So that's one big piece we're working on, like today. Well, the last
What would
6
that
months.
concentrate on?
Dispatch is a big one. And basically, anybody's in the computers, animal control, they hacked my emails about 3 weeks ago on my end, on just the email side of it. And so there was a big, we see Barstown got attacked, or
cyber attack,
ransomware about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
What they call it, ransomware. And so we haven't been, and so I think we've really looked at it, and I've worked with some people trying to make sure we're up to that next level. We just took the EMS over, not EMS, but the dispatch about a year and a half, and not to say anything negative about the past, but we're trying to enhance it and make it better. And I think we have. I think it's no doubt.
Right.
And with more equipment, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot of resources.
Yes, it does.
A lot of hours. So,
Right.
But I'm going to announce that February the 4th, starting at 11 o'clock, and we'll be taking phone calls, we'll be taking text messages, and I'll get the station, the guy that owns this place to set all that up. Mr. Roth. Matter of fact, there he is right here. How you doing, sir?
Well, Tim, we mentioned social media earlier, but you were taking some heat, and you mentioned it Tuesday, fiscal court, about People were concerned that the warming shelter wasn't open, I guess, soon enough. But I think it did it was opened on Sunday. But and it really, the sheriff.
Storm didn't hit till Sunday.
Right.
We opened it on Sunday. That's when the storm hit on Sunday.
Right.
And actually didn't get really bad until that afternoon when it started.
But I don't think people were publicly aware of the problems that happened last year. Because Sheriff Raymond Penarora was.
You watched that? Mm-hmm. The fiscal court meeting?
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I brought that up.
Yeah.
Well, there's several things that happened. First of all, and if anybody that don't listen to the court meetings, is we got a new EMA director, and I've given him direction and authority to upgrade, enhance and he worked his rear end off and with all of the fire departments and all the emergency staff and police and getting everything ready in countywide in a big storm like this. Not just that. We got to be prepared, which we have, for tornadoes, earthquakes. We got to make sure we're ready to go. We don't want to be like some of these counties that got caught with their pants down. And I've talked to some of those judges when those tornadoes hit. We got to have all this stuff ready. We've been working with some equipment guys, and so it's an ongoing thing that we've been really working for. Joey Pruitt was our EMA director before, did a great job. And he was limited with resources, and we're trying to enhance it and make it better, and I think our guy is, and improve on that. We're trying to improve every department from what was done in the past, not to be critical. I mean, and you got new ideas, new blood, and new ways of thinking, new technology for sure that, so we've been working on that for good year or so, and then when this thing come together, Brad Metcalf and we worked to talk about all this, and there was a little lack of communication over the Civic Center opening up between him and I told him I'd take the blame for that. And there was a few rambling on Facebook and all that, and as a matter of fact, I called some of them. There's a whole lot more to it behind the scenes. They don't have a clue. It's easy to get on that keyboard and ramble on, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'll just be point blank about it. You see me in the court, call me. I got my 800 number, 1800 number, and my 249022 or 0816 is my direct number. If they got any problems, they can always call instead of rambling on and making a lot of comments that they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So last year when we went in there, and it's not a homeless shelter, it's a warming center.
And I think people lose that.
Yeah.
Realize it's
and
not for
where is it located?
The Civic Center.
Okay.
And EMA Jodium's done it previously, and then what happened last year was, security-wise, safety-wise, we had opened it up. It was about a week like this. It wasn't as snowy, but it was real cold. And we opened it up, announced it. It was the first year that I guess Brad Metcalf had been involved in this piece of it. And we had about, I don't remember, 4, 5, 6, 7 homeless people came in, stayed all week long, and made a mess. You heard the story what Raymond said. Feces and making a mess everywhere, and then I found out, you have some of these are sex offenders. Okay?
Right.
Now, the Bethany Haven treasurer and them out there, Treasurer Davison's a personal friend of mine, and I think she does a good job with the room at the end, Bethany Haven, and they had all their ducks in a row, and I think do a good job. The criticism I got was something about all these homeless and they freezing out there. I don't want nobody to die. I don't want nobody to freeze to death. But we've got the Career Center we've opened up the last year and a half. We got all kinds of programs in there. We actually got Bethany Haven moved in there. There's all kind of different programs about drugs and mental and all that. We try to help everybody we can help get off of that. Some people don't want to help. Some people don't want to take advice, and they just want to do that. And they want us to keep giving them whatever, and all these different organizations give them. Well, that don't sit too good with me. I never was built that way, and I wasn't raised that way. You need to work and try to strive and get better. If you had some mishaps, let's help you. Let's get you off the, hand up and get you started. And we've done that with tons of organizations are doing that. But if they find out they are sex offenders or pedophiles, in most cases they won't take them.
Yeah, right.
So then if they come to the Civic Center, and you got a family, or you or me, or we got people out here that don't have no place to go, and they bring their family down there, and they're there, what kind of spot and put the safety does that put them in? So I catch it from that side too.
Sure.
So we thought we had a security plate, people going in We talked about it Friday and Saturday, and we had some security going in to help take care of this with some volunteers and some money, and they backed out on us Saturday, or Sunday morning. I can't remember when. So we had to scramble, and we worked and got it open and put cots and all that stuff in there. And we had the police just patrolling. And so we've got to go to the next level and try to figure out how we're going to do that, and it's not going to be an easy fix. But then the electricity went out at the Civic Center. So we got to think about the way. So, we do have a big generator, and I've talked to some companies, and so we got to make sure.
Do they have supplies there and that kind of thing, too?
They got cots, and they got bathrooms, they got the blankets, and if anybody wants any food, I guess they can get snacks in with them, You got to be real careful, because I caught a lot of static last year because we left that thing open all week like we're doing right now. You've got different branches of government down there, not government, Extension Office, 4-H, and all these committee meetings coming in and out.
Department.
And all these different health department, and they're highly concerned about it. Now, do we have any other buildings around the county? We've searched and looked and searched, and it's not as easy as you may think it is. So I personally think we've done, and Brad and our groups and everybody, there was a little bit of miscommunication on one of those texters, whatever, went out, one of those messages, because they didn't have the whole story in there. But I'm telling you the rest of the story, like Paul Harvey. So here's the rest of the story.
Well, I think people don't see the backside and all the work that goes in to try to get things done. There's a lot behind the scenes that the average person never hears about.
I don't really. We passed that. Margie, you didn't like it too much, I don't think. We talked about this several months ago when the city and county both passed a camping ordinance to eliminate that. Because I've got tons and tons of complaints about the homeless camping out in alleys and streets and on their farms and in their woods and unsafe and scared. That's what I get.
Well, I
try to fix that.
I understand that.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix that.
But when you criminalize homelessness, where do these people go? Where do they go?
Well, I don't know if you criminalize
it. Well, it does. It does if you make it against the law. You've criminalized it. Because you arrest these people. What are you going to do with them after you've arrested them?
It is a big problem. We try to get them in. I'll tell you what we've done. We try to get them in Bethany Haven, and they've got people they work with, organizations, get them into mental institutions. We get them into the doctors.
If you can
get
them
drug rehab, that's what our goal is.
If you can get them someplace else, but to just blanketly say it's against the law. You can't put your head here and sleep.
Well, I'll tell you my comment to that is we try to help them all, and the ones that don't want any help, and you talk to any businesses downtown, which I have, camping in the streets, any businesses. So anybody that says that, you and anybody else, you let them come to your house. You let them sleep in your yard. You let them camp out in front of the churches that want to criticize this. Let them come up with a better alternative plan than what we've done. I think we've done a good job.
I'm not criticizing what you've done.
Yeah, the city's
what I'm
got.
saying is that a law just which criminalizes homelessness, in and of itself, does no good unless you are furnishing some other way for.
Resources,
a human person
and we have, and
who
we
has to sleep where to put their head at
night.
And
the city's they hired a new girl from the city,
social worker,
police department, and she's done an excellent job. And I want to commend Mayor Heaton and Chief Kim and their group. We've got programs with us on the opioid side, so there's always room to improve, and I think we will. I think most people say we won't help anybody that wants to help themselves. But then you get to that point, and they're hanging out. I had 2 come into the courthouse downstairs, 2 different episodes, and the girls was freaking out, scared to death, trying to call. One of them came in early that morning. Nobody was in there. She got threatened and everything else. So you got to look at the big picture. There's more to it than saying you're just going to help somebody. So then I put in security alarms throughout the courthouse, silent alarms for that reason, which costs the county money for that reason. That's 2 episodes that has happened in my time already. So it's not an easy fix, but
no.
All right, we need to stop and get a couple of
Yeah.
messages in. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to Bradford and Brooks and our discussion
42.
this morning with Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins. We'll be right back. All right, you're back with Bradford and Brooks, and sometimes the best part of this show is during the commercials here in the studio. We had a lively discussion between myself and Judge Executive Hutchins and Margie Bradford. So anyway, we've got about 12 minutes left, Judge. So I'll shut up and let you.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Well, can I add one thing?
Yes, you can.
Just earlier you talked about overwhelmingly that your party carried overwhelmingly, and they may have in
22.
In
You're talking about the local
right,
elections?
No, I'm not talking about the local elections.
Okay.
I'm talking about national elections. And there are razor-thin majorities in both the Senate and the House. That does not indicate that there's overwhelming support.
My comment to that would be is Nelson County was overwhelmingly in the state of Kentucky, but Nelson County is who I represent, and the citizens of Nelson County.
No, I didn't disagree with you there.
Okay.
I was disagreeing with you.
Okay. So my point is, I represent Nelson County. Nelson County overwhelmingly big margins for Trump in the past election, and 2 years ago overwhelmingly. That's the point I'm getting at. I'm not talking about New York City and all these liberal states that everybody's leaving in droves and getting away from because of their liberal views. I'm not even talking about those.
And that's
if
why
it wasn't for those places that we're talking about, actually razor-thin margins, if you want to go back and look at it, and I didn't want to stay in this debate over Trump, but he damn near won several other ones by, he got beat by a very thin margin. He got 300 and something delegates. I think it's the first time that's happened in many years. And he could have got, I don't know how many it is total. I never really added it up, about 500 or something, ain't it? He got those 3, 4, 5, maybe 550 delegates total. He could have almost got 400 and something if you look at those razor-thin margins in some of the cities that he lost. So just look at you ever heard Paul Harvey? The rest of the story, that's who that's kind of that's who I like to think about.
Well, I think that
I appreciate your comments, and and I can do better. That's what I want to do. I'm here for everybody.
Well, Margie, my only comment to that is, in this past election, Kamala Harris underperformed in the states that Joe Biden did well, and Trump overperformed from the 2020 election. He did better in states. It was just kind of a shift in the
right.
We don't want to just talk about Kamala why she lost, but it just boiled down to me the agenda, and people liked what Trump was saying.
Yeah,
because Kamala, to me, she sunk her own campaign in a big way when she was on The View, and someone asked her, "What would you do different?" And she said nothing. No, I wouldn't change a thing. And it's like, well. People are paying more for groceries, and now you can debate what Biden did,
and what influence
it happened under his watch.
The pandemic had.
Yeah,
it happened under his watch. If it wasn't for the pandemic, Joe Biden, we wouldn't even be talking about him. Trump would have won by tremendous margins because the economy was flourishing so huge that it wouldn't even been, in my opinion, wouldn't even been a debate because Trump would have been there 8 years. But anyway, I'm not getting into all that. You talking about draining the swamp. When I sent my email to President Trump, I told him take a dozer, don't drain it, take it out, take them all out, and then start from scratch. That's what I think. So getting on that, I've done that in Nelson County. The fiscal court supported me. We've done, and it's a 2-year update. We've eliminated 5 high-paying jobs through different mechanisms, and some of them retired, some of them left, some of them are last to leave. Saved the county, but I figured it up, my treasurer and all that, we had a higher number, I'm going to say $600,000 to $700,000 that we did not replace. Okay? Think about that.
So positions that are not replaced.
That we did not replace. About $600,000 because they had take-home trucks. You figure the retirement, you figure their insurance. It's about $130,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000
So
a year.
where was all this
Well, if you want to really get real specific, we had
Well,
some
I'm just curious.
at the
when
road
you're-
department. I tell you, we had some at the road department in the inspection office. We had some at the maintenance department, at the animal control department, inspections office. There's six of them right there. Now, I replaced, there's more than that actually. There's one, let's see, I replaced two with a whole lot less wages, and I contracted out with another one. Saved us, anyway, at the end of the day, it saved us about $600,000. Just letting the public know what we did internally. Just letting you know, the planning and zoning, whether you like the way it ran in the past or not, we got a new director out there to let you know. Sean Moore has done an excellent job, and
we had him in for
he's
as a guest.
He's done really well, and he's got a very positive attitude, and is moving that office in a really positive direction.
Now, Tim, confirm this for
upper
me.
side, I was talking about saving that money. A lot of that we saved because we're using the inmates, working with the jailer in our road department, doing a tremendous amount of work. A lot of that work we're doing with the inmates. And then we're actually taking them out to animal control. We go out there and clean every day. Think about that. I just, so go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, I had heard through the grapevine that the new, that Sean has either a higher salary or better benefits or something than than Jan had as head of planning. So of course, that's not just a county agency.
Yeah,
you all share
absolutely,
the costs with the other cities.
Yeah, that's a joint thing with the cities and county, and we agreed. The mayor of the city, Dick Heaton, and I agreed. Met with some of the commissioners. Said, in today's times, you're going to have to increase the salaries.
Well, if you want to recruit somebody,
if you're going to get anybody that's got some experience and so on, and that's what.
Yeah.
Based on our suggestion, the commission really has authority to do that,
That's
and
right.
they did.
That's right.
And we went through that. We've had with same thing with the computers outdated and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I found them a new place that they're releasing right now up there by 5 Star on Chambers Boulevard by Village Green. Got them a whole lot bigger place because when I first came in, they was renting the place out there across from Mago.
Yeah.
And they was so crowded, and it was just a tough for them all.
Right.
And we're going to actually.
So this is how planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning, and they've got a whole lot better working environment, which is better for all of them mentally and sitting on top of each other.
Right.
If I had to sit there all day and listen to Marjorie up on top of me working, oh hell, I'd be in the mental hospital. So
that could work both ways.
Well, I'm glad to know. I'm glad to know I had such powers. I didn't know that.
So we went out and
Try to capitalize on them a little more.
we've got the driver's license here and temporary.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
And credit to everybody, Diane Thompson.
Well, Diane, I know worked
and
her
Candy
her tail off for
and
that.
Jimmy and myself and some others to get that located here. And luckily we had a place to put them temporarily, and then we're going out there. We're remodeling out there by the.
So where are you putting
The
it?
senior center is still there, and there's another building beside it.
And you're going
and
beside
another-
the center,
yes.
senior center?
That one, and then we also got the Commonwealth attorneys coming here. We got a new Terry Gohagan retired. We have a new Commonwealth attorney that lives in Hodgenville, and he wanted to locate here, and the state wanted him here. So we're remodeling 2 buildings there inside of that building. And we're going to try to get planning and zoning in the third piece of it on a permanent basis. So kind of let you an update on that. Jim, I don't know if you reported, Rhonda, when we met with our health insurance carrier, when I first came in, we went self-insured on our health insurance. And you had to go through a year or so to see if it was working. We saved $861,000 the first year on that.
Wow.
And then we also offered them an outpatient thing. They can go in free, which is through Blue Mine in Bardstown. All of our employees can go in there free for just regular checks up with no copays or nothing. So by cutting all this and saving this money, we've offered and give our employees more money. We've got the police officers more money. We've bought a lot better equipment in all these different departments at their landfill. I mean, the garbage is a big thing. I mean, the equipment is so high. A lot of it. I had last December, I think I told you, I had to borrow a garbage truck from Marion County as a backup because 2 of ours were broke down. Since then, we're getting things in better shape on that. And so by doing all these changes and cuts, and where's the money at? Well, we give our employees better money, we get them better insurance, and we're taking care of them, I think. We're doing an employee policy, trying to help all. We got to have good employees. If you don't, you're not going to have anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we've supported the police with raises, and the EMS. They're doing a great job. We put another ambulance on in the high run times. Started that just a couple weeks ago. The dispatch, we put another dispatch on in the high. I mean, you just look at the numbers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you just couldn't believe how many calls they take. So all this stuff, we're trying to save us money. We're trying to make things better for the public. There's one thing we started about 3 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, and I finally got it down pat pretty good that every department, you see those reports. It goes from Diane, a lot of departments that we don't even really have any effect on or to communicate with. Diane Thompson and Jeanette and the county attorney, of course the road department. They put a detailed report out every first of the month, and I put it in we talk about it at the second meeting, and we put it on Facebook, and anything you want to know, basically, it's out there. We're not trying to hide anything. So it's really letting everybody know what's going on in this community and all these departments. I mean, it's full of detail.
Oh, yeah.
Really. And that's really, I think, one of the best things we've done as far as being transparent with the public and letting them know what's going on. 'Cause,
Right.
like I say, I don't want to hide anything. And we've cut out a bunch of inspections. We're not doing all these outbuildings. I campaigned on that. Some of these fences and outhouses.
Exactly, what does that mean?
If you build, say, if you were lived on Stonehouse Road, not the city, I'm talking about outside of the city, Bardstown city limits, and you wanted to build a garage, you had to get a permit and get it inspected. 3 times?
Yeah.
Now we eliminated that. Now housing, no, you still got to inspect your home. And that's what we put in '96 or whatever, and I support that. But they watered or they expanded all that, and I got rid of all of it. I campaigned on it. I said I was going to do it, and I done it, and the fiscal court supported it. We can eliminate a bunch of inspections for the people. Don't have to. So you own your own house. You don't have to ask anybody what you can do every day.
Right. Well, Tim, we're out of time.
Out of time?
Yes, sir.
Damn.
It goes quick. All right. Well, thanks for coming in today, and we will have to get you back on and to let you and Margie spar again a little bit.
I enjoy it, and I thank you for letting me be on here. And then anytime anybody wants to call, and just go on our Nelson County Fiscal Court Facebook page, and they can get all the data they want. And I encourage them to call 800-348-1800 anytime. And my cell phone number is 249-0816. Anytime, because I'm, if there's anything you don't like or see or whatever, let me know. We'll try to make it better.
Because I'll tell you, in my personal opinion, Facebook is the worst place to get news. Because there's so much information.
I've got other people doing some of it. I don't really personally do it, but anyway, there's a lot of them that do.
So give us your phone number.
249-0.
Wait just a minute.
816-249-0816.
Right.
That's my personal cell phone number. You got it wrong. You got 0816.
It's 0816.
All right.
And then 348-1800 is the judge's office, and I've got the Carol and
249.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you, Jim, for having me.
All right. Well,
I'll
thank
see
you,
everybody
Judge.
February the 4th.
All right, sir. We thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week. Have a great week.